This is one of the Delta Race sleeping bags that we make at PhD. You'll notice straight away it's a hoodless bag, shoulder length, and designed to come up round the shoulder and finish off at the neck, and so it can be cinched in above the shoulders. Everything about the Delta Race bag has been designed for extreme lightweight races like the Marathon des Sables or other desert multi-stage races where you're carrying all your kit, your sleeping bag, your food and so on for several days, and you really want the extreme weight saving that's so critical to how the race goes for you. It's also a sleeping bag that could be taken up by lightweight trekkers, lightweight trail walkers that are doing big distances and are really looking to get maximum weight to warmth ratio performance from the sleeping bag and their other equipment. There's two Delta Race bags in the range currently. There's the Delta Race 100 that's for 10 degrees C, and there's the Delta Race 200 that's for 4 degrees C. So 4 degrees C is a very good temperature to be targeting for desert races where you're running at high temperatures during the day but very rapid, sudden low temperatures at night, typically down to about 4 degrees C. 4 degrees C is cold. It's where we'd be scraping ice off the windscreen of our car here in the UK. So they are low temperatures, but so you really want quite a lot of warmth for nighttime sleeping, but you really want it as light as possible. So the Delta Race has been designed around that concept of going as extreme as you possibly can. The idea is that instead of needing a hood on the sleeping bag, you get warmth from the buff or the hat that you're carrying anyway on the race. So it's a shoulder length bag, and you wear some headgear as well. Now the bag is made, it's a typical mummy shape other than that, the shoulder length section. So it's got a mummy shape, it's got the typical mummy shape foot box piece at the end there, and as always at PhD, we make everything to order directly for our clients. We don't have stock, we don't sell through other shops. We deal directly with you, the client that's going to use the equipment, and that allows us to make the bags exactly how you want them. So we can make this in several lengths, from short through standard, long, extra long, or slim to standard to wide to extra wide. It's really important to get a sleeping bag fitting correctly. That is when you'll get maximum weight to warmth. You'll get the right fit to get the best warmth, and you're not carrying too much weight or the incorrect amount of weight by taking a bag that's too big. So the fit is really critical. So that's the start point. This bag is the lightest possible. It's got no zips on it at all. It's wide enough at the top to get in without a zip. It can be cinched down and so on. It's very basic, very simple, and that's done to really make it efficient and save weight. But of course we can put zips on. We can put a full length zip on. We can put it on either side when we're building it for you, or we can put a short zip on. Zips are pretty clever. They do give you that ventilation and that temperature control flexibility. So if some nights are too warm, you can vent the bag quite easily. They do add bulk and they do add weight. Zips don't compress at all, so they add bulk in the stuff sack. The old way was just, before we used to put zips in bags, we used to just bring the bag off your shoulders and off your chest and lower down or get under the bag rather than unzipping bags. So the lightest way is no zip. But a zip can be pretty handy if temperatures are varying. There is another zip that we offer on the bag, and that's just a foot zip. That can be, that's just a short zip that we put in the side seam, either the left or the right. And that that is pretty handy actually. That was suggested to us by a desert racer who was asking for just a small zip to be able to cool his feet down at the end of the day. A day's running in the desert can bash up the feet badly, so a mechanism just to let your feet cool down but keep the rest of your body warm is a pretty clever idea. So we can just put a foot zip in if that's what you want. Now this fabric on the basic standard start point Delta Race is Vertex fabric. It's the lightest fabric we've ever used. It's 18 grams per square metre. It's exceptionally light. It took many years to find this fabric. We've had to wait and look for this for many years. So it's quite exceptional. Very, very light, downproof, windproof, breathable, and it has a light DWR coating on the outer. That's just to, if any water gets spilt on it, it just helps the water bead and run off the fabric. So the lightest material we have there is the Vertex, and it's used on the outer of the bag and the inner of the bag. We also offer other fabrics that we can make this sleeping bag in. We can make it in hypershell, and hypershell is a shelled fabric. It's got waterproof qualities. It's a PU coated fabric, and it helps if you're sleeping in a tent where condensation is the problem. A lot of modern tents have got small and condensation seems to be really troublesome nowadays in these modern lightweight tents. And if it's a small tent, or if there's two of you in a tent and there's wet gear in the tent, it's impossible really not to get the sleeping bag wet. So we can make it in hypershell, and that will reduce the trouble from that problem. Additionally, we could make the sleeping bag with a Dryalex shell on the outer of the bag. Dryalex is a waterproof fabric. It's a 2-layer laminate, fully waterproof, fully breathable and tapeable, so the seams can be seam sealed and made waterproof. So it's at the far end of what you would do with a bag, but it gives total proofing to a sleeping bag. So if you're in scenarios where you really are troubled by water, or if you're using a tarp, say, and you're concerned that water can be drifting in on a windy night and get to the bag, it might be worth considering a fully waterproof shell on the bag. There's one other halfway point that we designed, which is a foot piece, a waterproof foot piece only. So that's made out of a 2-layer laminate waterproof fabric, taped, and it can either be stitched on just the foot area of the bag, so it makes it fully waterproof, or it can be removable, so we can just make it with a couple of some loops and studs that affix it to the bag, but it can be taken off. So if you're lightweight running with no trouble with condensation or damp, you can remove it, or just take it on those trips where you are concerned. The reason we did that is it's the foot piece that's most vulnerable to dampness in a tent, and that's because if you're pitching head up and your feet are slightly lower than your head, there's a tendency at night for you to slither down into the bottom of the tent a little bit, even just a small amount, and you can find that the bottom of the sleeping bag is touching the end of the tent, and that's where that rubbing of the sleeping bag against condensation on the walls of the tent really exaggerate that problem. And people tell me of trouble with damp feet and the bottom of the sleeping bag getting wet after a few days and so on. So the waterproof foot piece, which is an option, it's not a bad idea at all. So that's the Delta Race bags, lightest sleeping bags in the world for their temperature. They are exceptional. They have an exceptionally pure target use, which is racing, but it might be a bit broader. People who are lightweight, trekking long distances, wanting to go very, very light, trail walkers and so on, they may find this sort of kit suits them as well. Okay, cheers.